tell me, what's your marketing plan? Is it just putting up your listing on Airbnb? Let me tell you this, most Airbnb hosts don't have a marketing problem. They have a dependency problem, and that is a very different thing because when bookings slow down, most hosts go straight into panic mode. They change the nightly rate. They swap the hero photo, they rewrite the title, they add another discount, they stare at the calendar like it owes them an explanation. But here is the uncomfortable part. Your property might not be the problem. Your marketing system might be. Because if Airbnb is the only place people find you, Airbnb is not just a booking platform anymore. It's your traffic source, your search engine, your storefront, your proof, your sales page, your follow-up system, and basically your entire marketing department. And that sounds convenient until the rankings shift. Until a newer listing pops up above you, until a cheaper property starts getting more clicks, until your views drop for no obvious reason, until the host down the street with worse furniture somehow gets booked before you, and suddenly you're sitting there thinking, wait, what changed? My property is still good, my reviews are still good, the photos are still good. Why is my calendar quieter? That is exactly why this conversation matters, because Airbnb can bring you bookings. VRBO can bring you bookings. And I'm not here to tell you to leave the platforms. That would be bad advice. But I am here to tell you that in 2026, relying only on Airbnb or VRBO visibility is not a marketing strategy. It is hope with a calendar attached. In this video, I'm going to show you why good listings still disappear, why guests are more selective now, and how smart hosts are building demand outside the platforms using social media, Google, email, and direct booking pages. Not so they can abandon Airbnb, so they stop being trapped by it. Because the goal is not to get off the platform. The goal is to stop making the platform the only reason people find you. Here is the simplest way to think about Airbnb. Airbnb is a marketplace. That means it is very good at bringing together people who want a place to stay and people who have a place to offer. That is powerful. That is useful. That is why hosts use it. But a marketplace is not the same thing as a marketing plan. Think about it like renting a booth inside a very busy mall. That mall already has foot traffic. People are walking around. Some of them are ready to buy. That is great. But you do not own the mall. You do not control which entrance people use. You do not control where your booth gets placed. You do not control which other booths open beside you. You do not control when the mall changes the layout. And you definitely do not control what the mall decides to promote on the front sign. That is what happens when Airbnb becomes your entire strategy. You may own the property, but you do not own the attention. And that is the part hosts miss. Airbnb's own help center says search ranking uses many factors, including price, listing quality, and popularity. Popularity can include how often guests save your listing, book it, or message you about it. So when a host says, "Why am I not showing up like I used to?" The answer is not always simple. Maybe your price is not matching guest expectations. Maybe competitors are getting more engagement. Maybe another listing is converting better. Maybe your availability does not fit what guests are searching for. Maybe guests are clicking you but not booking, so the platform slowly learns that other options might be stronger. That is the trap. You are not just competing on having a nice property. You are competing inside a living, moving, constantly adjusting marketplace. And this is why good hosts get frustrated. They think, I have good reviews, I have nice photos, I have a clean property. Why is my calendar not full? Because Airbnb is not judging your property the way you judge your property. Airbnb is reading signals. Clicks, saves, messages, bookings, price, availability, guest behavior. So if all your demand comes from that one marketplace, your business rises and falls with signals you only partially control. It means Airbnb should be one lane in your marketing system, not the whole highway. Here is where some get confused. They think, my property is nice, my reviews are good, my photos are clean, so why am I not getting the same bookings I used to? And honestly, that is a fair question, because from the host's point of view, nothing changed. The couch is still there, the beds are still comfortable, the view is still beautiful, the cleaning team is still doing their job, but the platform changed around you. Airbnb is not looking at your property like a proud owner looks at their property. It is looking at guest behavior. Airbnb says search ranking is influenced by many factors, including price, listing quality, and popularity. That popularity can include signals like how often guests click, save, message, or book your listing. So you may look at your listing and think, this place is great, but Airbnb is asking a different question. Are guests choosing this listing compared to the other options available right now? That is a very different game, because your listing is not competing against itself from 6 months ago. It is competing against the new listing that just launched with a fresh host boost. It is competing against the property manager who lowered their price for the weekend. It is competing against the boutique stay with better lifestyle photos. It is competing against the host who responds faster, has more flexible availability, or has a better total price after fees. That is why a good listing can still disappear, not because the property became bad, because the market got louder. And if your only plan is to wait for the algorithm to bring you traffic, you are always reacting. You are reacting to rankings, reacting to slower views, reacting to weaker months, reacting to what other hosts are doing. That is exhausting, and it is also not a real growth strategy. A real strategy says, yes, I want to perform well on Airbnb, but I also want guests discovering me before they ever open Airbnb. Because when people already know your brand, trust your properties, recognize your content, or find you through Google, you stop depending on one avenue to do all the heavy lifting. The guest has changed, and this is the part a lot of hosts are underestimating. In 2026, people are not just booking the first decent looking stay they find. They are comparing harder. They are checking photos faster. They are reading reviews with more suspicion. They are looking at the total price. They are asking, does this place feel worth it? And they are doing all of that in seconds. Price Labs describes the 2026 short-term rental market as one that is not shrinking, but sharpening. Travel demand is still there, but guests are more selective, they tend to book later, and they have more options to choose from. That one sentence explains so much of what hosts are feeling. The demand did not disappear. The guests just became harder to win. And when guests are harder to win, your marketing has to do more than say, here is a bed, here is a kitchen, here is a hot tub. That is not enough anymore. You have to help the guests picture the stay. You have to show them the morning coffee moment, the walk to the beach, the easy parking after a long drive, the quiet living room after a full day out, the pet-friendly yard that makes the trip easier, the clean, calm bedroom that makes them feel like they picked the right place. This is where marketing becomes bigger than the listing, because the listing captures demand, but content creates desire. The listing is where someone compares you. Your marketing is where someone starts wanting you. That is the difference. If you are only visible when someone is already inside Airbnb comparing 15 other properties, you are entering the fight late. But if they saw your local local guide on Instagram, found your property on Google, watched a short video of the hot tub view, or read a past guest story before they searched, now you are not just another option. You are familiar, and familiar feels safer. Stop thinking social media is for posting pretty photos. That is why it gets frustrating. You post the kitchen, you post the bedroom, you post the view, then say, this is not bringing bookings. But the problem is not social media. The problem is that the content has no job. For short-term rentals, social media should do 4 very specific things. First, it should sell the experience, not just 3-bedroom cabin. Show the fire pit at night, show the coffee on the deck, show the kids running into the living room, show the couple opening the door and saying, this is perfect. Second, it should sell the location. Guests are not only booking your property, they are booking what the trip feels like around it. So create content like 3 things to do near this Airbnb, where to eat 5 minutes from this stay, why this cabin works for a quiet weekend away, the best morning walk near this vacation rental. Third, it should build trust. Show the cleaning process, show check-in, show parking, show the real layout, show what guests always ask about before booking. Fourth, it should create proof. Take your best reviews and turn them into content. A review that says, the place was spotless and check-in was easy is not just a nice comment. That is marketing. Because another guest is sitting there wondering, is this actually clean? Is this actually easy? Is this actually worth it? Your past guest just answered that question for you. This is why social media matters in 2026. It helps people want the trip before they search for the trip. Airbnb captures people who are already shopping. Social media can create the shopping moment. And that is where operators start to separate themselves. Because now you are not only waiting for the algorithm, you are creating reasons for people to care. Now, let's talk about Google, because not every guest starts on Airbnb. Some guests go straight to Google and type exactly what they want. Pet-friendly cabin near St. John's. Vacation rental near the beach with parking. Downtown short-term rental for family trip. Boutique stay near wedding venue. Airbnb with hot tub near hiking trails. That guest is valuable because they are not casually browsing, they are hunting. And if your brand is invisible on Google, someone else gets that attention. This is where a lot of STR operators are missing a major opportunity. They have nice properties, but no Google presence, no strong website pages, no Google business profile, no local content, no review-rich landing pages, no direct booking page that feels safe enough to use. Google says a business profile can help businesses appear on search and maps, and businesses can personalize it with photos, offers, posts, and more. That matters because Google is not just a search engine. For local travel decisions, it is often a trust engine. People use Google to check if something feels real. They look at photos, they scan reviews, they check maps, they compare websites, they look for signs that the business is legitimate. So if someone searches your property name, your management brand, or vacation rentals in your area, what do they see? Do they see a polished brand, or do they see nothing? Because nothing creates doubt, and doubt sends people back to Airbnb, not because they love paying fees, because Airbnb feels safer. So the goal with Google is not to become some giant national travel site. The goal is simple. Show up when high intent guests are already looking. When they find you, make them feel like they found a real, trustworthy, professional place to book. This one is painfully simple. simple. If a guest stays with you, loves the property, leaves a great review, and never hears from you again, you just let future revenue walk out the door. That is what happens to a lot of hosts. They work so hard to get the booking. Then once the guest checks out, the relationship ends. But the easiest person to book again is not a stranger. It is the guest who already stayed with you. They already trusted you. They already found the property. They already know what to expect. They already had a good experience. So, why are we treating them like they disappeared? Email gives you a simple way to keep that relationship alive. And no, this does not mean blasting people with annoying promos every week. It can be simple. A thank you email after checkout, a review request, a message 3 months later with a seasonal reason to return, a local event email, a book direct next time reminder, a past guest offer during a slower booking window. This is where repeat bookings become more realistic, because Airbnb and VRBO are mostly built around the next transaction. Your email list is built around the next relationship, and that is a big difference, especially in a market where acquisition keeps getting more expensive and guests have more options. The best STR operators do not just think about how to get the first booking. They think about how to make the second booking easier. And email is one of the cleanest ways to do that. Now we have to talk about direct booking pages, because a lot of hosts hear direct bookings and immediately think, oh, that just means avoiding Airbnb fees. But that is too small. Direct bookings are not just about saving fees. They are about control. Control over the guest relationship, control over your brand, control over the booking experience, control over your follow-up, control over how your property is positioned. But here is the catch. A direct booking page does not work just because it exists. A weak direct booking page can actually hurt trust, because if the page looks outdated, confusing, vague, or risky, the guest will not think, great, I can save money. They will think, is this safe? That is the real barrier. Airbnb feels safe because it has reviews, payment protection, familiar design, messaging, policies, and brand trust. So if you want someone to book directly, your page has to answer the trust questions fast. Is this real? Is the price clear? Are the photos accurate? Can I see reviews? What happens if I need to cancel? Is payment secure? Can I contact someone? What exactly am I getting? Your direct booking page should not feel like a random checkout link. It should feel like a polished trust hub. It needs strong photos, clear reviews, a simple booking path, transparent fees, property details that actually answer guest questions, FAQs, local area context, and some kind of brand story that makes the guest feel like there are real professionals behind the stay. Because in 2026, guests are cautious. They are used to scams, fake listings, misleading photos, and sketchy websites. So the job of your direct booking page is not just to display the property, the job is to remove fear. Once fear drops, conversion has a chance. So here's the real point. Airbnb is not bad. VRBO is not bad. The platforms can absolutely bring you bookings, but they should be part of the plan, not the whole plan. Because when Airbnb is your only marketing plan, you are depending on borrowed attention. You are depending on ranking. You are depending on search placement. You are depending on a guest finding you among dozens of similar listings. And that puts your business in a reactive position. A stronger STR marketing plan has multiple lanes. Airbnb and VRBO capture marketplace demand. Social media creates emotional demand. Google captures search demand. Email creates repeat demand. Direct booking pages convert trust into bookings. That is the ecosystem. And when those pieces work together, your property stops feeling like a random listing. It starts feeling like a brand. A guest sees your reel, then they search the area, then they find your website, then they read reviews, then they check availability, then maybe they book, or maybe they do not book today, but now they are on your email list. They remember your brand. They see your next post. They come back when the timing is right. That is how demand is built. Not by hoping the algorithm loves you this month. Not by panicking every time views drop. Not by discounting every empty night without understanding the bigger problem. The goal is not to leave Airbnb. The goal is to stop needing Airbnb to do everything. Use the platforms, but build outside the platforms, because the operators who win long term are not just the ones with nice properties. They are the ones who know how to create attention, build trust, and turn that trust into bookings. That is the marketing plan. So if you are relying on Airbnb and VRBO alone, I would not say panic. I would say build. Build the content, build the Google presence, build the direct booking page, build the email list, build the trust system around the property. Because the strongest short-term rental brands in 2026 are not just waiting to be found, they are creating demand before the guest ever reaches the search results. And if you want help turning your short-term rental marketing into a real booking system, start by auditing one thing today. Where do guests find you outside Airbnb? I'm Derek Gisriel, owner of Level Up Stays. And if you're a short-term rental owner and want to have a solid marketing plan, watch this video again and apply it. You'll see the difference immediately. Hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what other topics you want me to cover. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something from it. I'll see you in the next one.